Ladies and gents, welcome to Game 1 in a best of 5 in a qualifier for an event called World Rumble. The basis of World Rumble is it's a high-level Age of Empires 2 tourney, but it excludes players who've had a top 8 finish in S-tier events over the last few years. So it does exclude some of the bigger names. There's still some massive names in this tournament, and the tournament will be comprised of 16 players. So this is a qualifier to fill 8 qualifying spots as players like Freakin' Andy, Barrels, Hart, Sebastian, and some others that I'm not remembering off the list are already in the main event. We have Sobek, the Chilean here. Sobek is playing as the Armenians here for game number 1. And then we've got Lix, the legend from China, playing as the Vikings here on Golden Swamp. Now, this is an interesting map, right? Because you've got all this gold in the middle. There's also fish to be controlled, fish to be gained towards the middle. But it's like, how much do you want to commit to that gold? How much do you want to commit to that water when there is quite a bit of gold still available at your base? There's also lots of food to start. There's lots of food, to start even apart from the fish. So you've got the water buffalo, and there's also 2 elephants, and there should be deer around as well. So basically no shortage of food. Now, speaking about the players, I'm repeating myself here, but I think Sobek's the favorite here. If you look at the most recent qualifier, Hidden Cup, Sobek almost qualified for Hidden Cup. He had an amazing run. He had great performances, and I think he's a great player. And there's just... I say this as someone who's been a fan of Lix for 8 years or something. Lix more recently hasn't shown that he's got that ton of drive and a ton of prep compared to some of these other players. I'd love to be proven wrong here today. I think that's part of what makes Lix is he's just full vibes sometimes. But will full vibes get him the job done here? We'll see. Now, Vikings, I have lots of memories of Vikings being played on this map. A lot of players would go for longboats. And if you control the seas with longboats, that could be really strong. The Armenians, though, do have really solid navy themselves. So I'm thinking that Armenians aren't going to shy away from a water war here. But both players are going to dock here in Dark Age and fish. And then I'm going to guess that Lix is either going to Fast Castle, which is an option, as weird as it sounds. Or Lix might go double or triple dock to go galleys. Which could be good. It could be good against the fire opening. But actually, the Armenians have a galley that shoots the extra arrow. So Armenian galleys, in theory, could be better in that way. What do you guys think about the Armenian galleys shooting an extra arrow? Thoughts? I'm going to tell you what I think is a bit weird about it. First off, I don't think the Armenians need it. Because I think their tech tree is insane without that, right? The other thing is that arrow's doing 1 damage, which maybe in feudal age is great, but long term, what the extra little arrow being there for galleons is kind of weird for me, you know? Oh shoot! I just smacked my pop filter away. I would say that it feels like they wanted an extra bonus and they added that in last. It just feels a little extra, you know? It's weird. A little forced, maybe. But it is an interesting one, because like I said, I think it's really strong early, and it isn't that strong in later stages, which is maybe how they wanted to balance that, so. Also, Sobek walling up right now. This might be a fast castle from him, actually. Very curious to see what the meta is here. And Lix is getting Loom, which indicates he's going to click up to the next stage here. Denton says, T90, who do you think the favorite is in this tourney? So it's really hard to say who the favorite is right now because this is still the qualifier. In between games, we can look through the qualifying bracket, and I can talk through who I think will qualify in each stage. But it's hard for me to say favorite right now just due to that. If I had to pick somebody, though, from the, let's say, the top 8, I guess, who are already invited, which, again, you've got Sebastian, Hart, Barrels, I think Valis is one. Chad, help me out. Who else do we got? Andy. Sorry, I don't have it memorized at this point. But I would say of the names that at least I mentioned, Mihai is there too. The names I mentioned, I would say maybe I'd pick Sebastian. I think the maps are really good for Sebastian style. There's a lot of maps that are very... I mean, actually, there's quite a big mix of maps. Yeah, if I had to pick one, I'd maybe say Sebastian. He's in amazing shape right now. Maybe Sebastian or Hart, depending on how their prep goes. So Lix is going to be up. He goes double dock to go fast galleys. You cannot go for fires, so it's not even a question. And then Sobek is walled, and Sobek is going fast castle here. And Sobek is going to lose the scout. Kind of unfortunate, but in some ways maybe to be expected if you're in Dark Age and you move out like this. So this can be a very uncomfortable feeling. You won't have your scout. And then there's actually a chance the galleys from Lix can also just take out some of your buildings. I think galleys could range this, for example. Yeah, Rubenstock's not in this tourney. Rubenstock doesn't really play tourneys anymore. I think he would probably play team game tourneys, though. I don't think he's... I know he doesn't have as much time for the game anymore. I think he enjoys team games more. 1v1 events can be pretty punishing and pretty brutal, so... Okay. So this is a strategy I've seen before, and this is really good against fire galleys. Basically, you make a little pocket for your galleys to mass in. So if they do come with fires, you can sit behind your gate. It's actually really smart. The tree's going to make things awkward there, but... And obviously, at this point, Sobek is expecting to lose his fishing ships. This is part of the plan. And he loses his 3 fishing ships just like that. I like it from Lix, though. He didn't even add more galleys. He added 2. He added a couple more fishing ships. Vikings, of course, get wheelbarrow right away. Not really that helpful here because you're not farming a lot. The extra carrying capacity really helps with farming. But the extra speed, of course, has an effect. And Lix is definitely thinking about some type of castle age because he knows his opponent's doing the same. And now, what we speculate on is, will Sobek start to make fires? I think in some ways it would maybe make sense. Start to mass some fires out of one dock because your opponent's not taking your dock down. And then you can move out and kill those fishing ships. But what he will also want to do is he'll also want to maybe add a second TC. The other thing he might want to do, and I know he'll do it, is add the fortified church. Fortified church with Armenians gives you a relic instantly, and then you can add warrior priests. And a warrior priest can fight and pick up relics. So it's like, I think the plan is make a fortified church. Nothing can stop your warrior priest from getting a couple more relics. And then, you know, adapt from there. I don't think Slam is in this, which is a little bit surprising. This would be the perfect tournament for Slam, but maybe someone could check the bracket. Again, we do have a command for it. Squibby, thanks for the 2 months. All right, so a lot of people have come in. So I want to apologize for people who've come in maybe through some false advertisements. So my initial stream title was Doubt versus ACCM. Doubt and ACCM play tomorrow. I got my days wrong. So it was news to me when I was like, why are they not online? What's happening? And then I double checked the schedule. Doubt and ACCM play tomorrow. I will be casting that then, but yeah. T90, will you be casting Vinch Margugu? Vinch Margugu in Sudden Disaster was rescheduled per the host. At least that's what I heard because of internet issues. But we're going to cast this series and adapt. There's quite a few sets that we can cast today. Guys, you want to see a magic trick? Say the word longboat in my chat. And I guarantee you we will see longboats. It won't happen if no one says it, though. So feel free. Go ahead. No one say it. Okay, someone said it. Yeah, we're going to see longboats. 3 docks here from Lix. You guys have spoken into reality. TC number 2 came up for Sobek. TC number 3 is coming up. And he's going to lose a lot of his base to these longboats. Like, the front of his base is not going to be accessible at all. And we have a TC in the middle then from Lex, and then a TC at home as well. So, I mean, right now, Sobek has pretty much just not contested the water at all here against the Vikings, and that's dangerous, man. These longboats are incredibly strong. Lix has had a pretty chill game. I would say where Lix as a player struggles in 1v1s is kind of the timing attacks that you typically see the really best players find. You know, the timing on fletching, the timing on ballistics, the timing on, you know, that extra armor on knights. He's not quite as precise with those timings. You don't really need timings in a game like this. This is like a super breezy game. At the same time, though, Sobek has that one relic, like we mentioned. And he might be headed over to get this relic. You can see Lix is protecting it right now. Trogdor says, T90, is Hidden Cup not considered an S-tier tourney? It is considered an S-tier tourney. Why do you ask? You have to look at the description of World Rumble. Initially, when they did it, it was like, if you hadn't had a top 8 performance in an S-tier event. But then, like, Andy's in it, and Andy was top 8 in NAC, for example. So again, I don't remember exactly. They made some distinctions. Someone says ACCM got 4th. Oh, I'm talking about a completely different event. ACCM and Doubt are not in this tourney. ACCM and Doubt are playing in another tourney that's also going to be tomorrow. So I can understand your confusion. Interesting that Sobek added a monk here. I wanted to see his scouting. Does Sobek see? Yeah, he doesn't actually know about this relic. He does know about this one, though. That's going to be relic number 2. I have to be really careful next to the shoreline right now if you're Sobek. But eventually the plan here, guys, is to build a castle near the shoreline to protect the shoreline so we can build new docks and then come fight on water. I wonder if we'll see the Silesian Fleet unique tech with some demos here. Could be really strong. Really sloppy from Sobek to toss these monks in towards ships. Really sloppy. Again, Lix has not had to work that hard here, which is great for him. He's on stone as well. I think Lix might want to build a castle towards the middle. Why are we farming in the gold area? Oh, man, this bothers me. Now, he does actually have more than enough gold income right now for what he's doing. He's not really investing a lot into gold. So as a player, sometimes you just go based on... Well, this is interesting. Hold on. Warrior Priest attacking the Scout. The Scout goes down. And that could be pretty good for Sobek. But I think Lix is happy to do that just so he can get this monk some time. Warrior Priest is faster, though. Does the Warrior Priest see that? The Warrior Priest sees that and will chase that down. Monk should be fine, though. Lix can use the water. Yeah, as a player, if you're like, okay, I don't need gold, I need food, you're just going to pull villagers off of resources and then farm. But the whole farming in the middle thing's a little funny to me. Nice job from Lix. He's going to grab this relic. He's going to drop this relic. He's getting the relics. And eventually, I'm thinking, again, we're going to see a castle somewhere. But you can't easily drop a castle on the shoreline if your opponent has longboats there. But they're not fully upgraded. There's not many of them yet from Lix, so... Lix is looking good, man. Viking Eco is really underrated. I think people forget how smooth this is. This hasn't been messy at all either, right? Like, usually I'd say for Vikings, their weakness could be not being able to add fires when it's close quarters. But, wow, Lix even castles here. And Lix knows that this is going to be an imp race. And Lix is going to click up after this. This is a sick build from Lix. And he's adapted to this very passive play from Sobek quite nicely here. Look at that. I think it'd be very easy to justify getting Bodcanero earlier, making more longboats, really spamming with production. But he just took his time. Good patience. Sobek knows that castle's going up now. Sobek might have to be a bit sneakier now. 2 villagers headed this way might be for a sneak dock or 2. But he knows, he's going to go for his own trebs. And so far, I've been unimpressed with the strategy from Sobek. Archer range from Lix. That's interesting. I thought he would just add docks. Well, that does then require the crossbow upgrade, potentially the arbalest upgrade. All right, lots of archer ranges. Someone is calling me. And they're not important enough for me to leave my Age of Empires 2 cast. Sorry, Mom. No, I'm kidding. 50 seconds till Sobek's an imp. We've got about a minute until Lix is an imp. Again, Lix has that gold in the middle. Lix also has 3 relics. These 2 villagers continue to sneak around here. Doesn't look like there's any more relics left on the map. I think a monk somewhere has one in hand. And here come the docks from Sobek. And there's the Cilician fleet upgrade. So he wants... So this... I actually should know this at this point, but it's still early. I haven't finished my coffee yet. So this adds extra explosion radius to the demos. But it also affects... I thought it affected their galleons as well, but I forget specifically what it does with the galleons. But yeah, like, Lix isn't allowing docks. Like, Lix even sees this now. Like, how are you supposed to even get the Navy out if there's going to be longboats out? He's researching War Galley. He's not even going to get the research of War Galley in. Lix is just all over him here. Yeah, that research will be denied. And so now this is a land fight, basically, and Lix is going to have Trebs. So yeah, your hope back into this, if you're Sobek, is to win the Treb War, and then hopefully you can dock again. But again, it's going to be so complicated to dock if the opponent's got this much Navy out. Sobek played this like he had a lot of faith in his strat. Usually when you see someone just not be bothered, take their time, the strategy ends up, you know, proving him right later on. But that is not the case here. Lix has done a really nice job. Now, like I said, I feel like the archer ranges, if Lix ends up losing this, we might look back to those ranges. That's a lot of wood invested into ranges. I don't think that's useful here. Your opponent's so close to the shoreline, I actually just think full Navy is completely fine. At least, like, if you're going to make the ranges, you might want them over here, right? Because then you could pester the sides. But easier said than done. Castle's going to go down here for Lix. But Sobek is kind of on a clock for gold. This is his gold. So he can't mine it all that easily. And we're going to see here, he's going to try and dock. Because he wants Navy. And then the Navy from Lix should be able to simply just deny it. Like the cannon galleon's even in there as well. God, it makes me so happy that we see cannon galleons more now than we ever have. It was the changes with cannon galleons that devs made were such good changes for the game. Cannon galleons were so niche before, and it didn't make sense to, like, you didn't do damage to other ships with them, really. And it was just for buildings. So, and you know, I actually kind of forget what it was before. I think you had to research cannon galleon to get access to cannon galleons. Now when you get chemistry, you could just make cannon galleons, and then the only research is elite cannon galleon. Sobek's toast, dude. I know he's Chilean, but he is French toast right here. This is bad, and wow, Lix wins the first game. And you know, like I said, like, I had my heart broken when casting Lix in Titans League. I really did, because I had a lot of faith in him. I was hyping him up, and I was being pumped. I was being pumped. I was pumped, and it was disappointing in that tournament. And so I came in here with all the recent performances from Sobek as well, and I felt like Sobek was the favorite. And Lix, he's beginning to mend my heart again, guys. That was a great performance. Really nice timings on the attacks. I mean, it wasn't the most energetic game ever. It wasn't a ton of stuff to really talk about. It was kind of a boom war, but that's what Sobek wanted, not Lix. And Sobek's style got completely punished there. Well played. So the classic Vikings get the job done there. More resources collected for Lix. And it's a pretty easy breezy game to start off the series for him. Well played. All right, game number 2. I was just saying, we've got to see something more here. And I think this game, this map, can definitely bring us that. We've got the Franks here for Sobek. Frank's civilizations that's so smooth to play and so good when military's active. And then here we've got Lix. And Lix is playing as the Magyars. So both really good scout civilizations on a map called Land Madness. Now, the way Land Madness works, and this is kind of the key moment, key aspect of the map, is you cannot wall on this little rocky line, okay? So you cannot wall easily, and then they're using the version that we brought in from Titans League, where you cannot wall to the edge of the map as well. So basically, if you are going to wall, you have to wall in small little walls, and things can get very messy, and things are very exposed. Now, for Lix, he's got an interesting situation with wood. It seems very open towards the front. His wood will be found to the right, and then this one wood line to the left. I prefer Sobek's map when it comes to the wood, honestly. There's just a lot more wood close by for him. So he'll like that. And then this version also has the berry bush underneath the TC, which most versions have. And it's also double berry bushes as well. So if I'm not mistaken, this is actually pretty much the same version we used for TTL. I don't know if they made any adjustments. There's actually quite a few versions of Land Madness out there, so... Now, we're expecting lots of army in Feudal Age, right? And so, while the Franks have the extra HP initially, the Magyars can get bloodlines. So if it becomes an extended Feudal Age war, the Magyar player has the superior scouts. Feels very natural for both of them to go into Spearmen against the scouts, and then so we might see that be something like Knight Pike later on. Now, I think any Magyar fans out there will know that Cav Archer is a really natural switch with the Magyars. Cav Archer is a natural switch when you have some walls, though. I think if the map is open, running around with Cav Archers is really awkward. Good stuff here from Lix and Dark Age. But yeah, I'm just expecting scouts. Sanity, thanks for the 29 months. Says thank you for the casting as always. You're welcome, man. Thank you, Bigern, for the 4 months. Howercraft, thank you for the 5. Hoyoyoyoyoy says, Lix backwards is XYL. This isn't meaningful in any way, but it makes me certain that he will win this series. What? You're right. It's not meaningful in any way. So in what way does that make you think he's going to win the series? Yeah, big if true. All right. Obviously, lots of berries, lots of other resources around the map. So this map is all about expanding later on. But yeah, in Lix's case, there is a wood shortage here. And on a map that's already tricky, this will definitely ramp up the difficulty. But at least he's got like the super safe back berries, the back gold. Other aspects of his map were really solid here. Like if you could wall to the edge of the map on this, this would be horrible for Lix. But the fact that Sobek can't really take advantage of these woodlines by walling to the edge, that's kind of a big deal. If I'm silent, guys, it's because I'm sipping my coffee. It is morning for me. Not sure what time it is for you. I would assume, let's see, percentage-wise. Let's say 50% of my audience is European. 10% of my audience is staying up late in Asia, Australia, maybe. We've got the rest, maybe NA. Obviously, I probably got that very wrong, but just a random guess. So this is what I mean about the small walls. You can small wall here and protect these villagers, but there's going to be a point where Lix is going to need more wood, and he better have map control when he gets to that point. Same deal for Sobek, of course. He's gonna have to relocate from this though. So, how are Portuguese on this map? I think Portuguese are pretty solid. Portuguese excel if they can get into double gold comp, so like archers and knights combined. This map is definitely a little bit more like food heavy, scout heavy, whatever it may be. So I don't know if that necessarily feels great for the Portuguese, but I think Portuguese, I would consider them to be Maybe like a top 5, top 6 pick. I'd take Magyars over them. I'd take Franks over them. Chinese is a must over them. Chinese are insane. Yeah, and then you got Portuguese maybe as a follow-up soon after that. Some players actually like to have Incas on this map, which I think is a bit awkward. Like, I personally feel like Mezzo's very awkward here, but... I like how Sobek didn't even scout his opponent. Like, this is one of those, you just know what your opponent's going to do, and you want all that food for your scout. So he didn't scout his opponent at all, and he's going to move out now. But neither player is going to be surprised that the other one's making scouts here. How about Hindustanis? Hindustanis should be really good, especially with some of the matchups. I have found the Civ-like Hindustanis to be a bit awkward because you can't, like, kill villagers that easily in Castle Age. Because you've got camels. So it's like the raid potential's less. Sobek taking advantage of the double berries here. Georgians should actually be really good here too. Yeah. I guess Georgians wasn't on my mental list because the Civ is... The last time I saw Land Madness in a tournament, the Civ didn't exist. Yeah, Georgians should be insane here. The recent change that the devs made to Georgians, where they get the mule cart and they also don't have a food, they don't have less food, is just nuts for them. Like, if you take advantage of it, you could have one of the fastest scout rushes in the game. Healing in feudal as well is insanely strong. I think they'll change that. I think it's too strong. I think they'll make an adjustment at some point, but... I'll have to look to the draft to see if the players banned Georgians, or maybe they're planning Georgians on future maps. I could see it being on the... It wouldn't surprise me if it was on the ban list. So both players took an engagement with the scouts, lost a bit of HP. Not too much to say otherwise. This could be dangerous, though, for Sobek. Lix has actually lured him out of position with 2 spears. And Sobek's 1 spear is going to get picked off. He does react to this, though. So he pulls away immediately, which is good. Lix takes some extra damage. Nice damage here from Lix on the scout. But, you know, they're just looking for a big opportunity to snowball. Hasn't happened yet. That was weird. Hold on, what? How did Sobek's scout die? Okay, watch this, okay? Huh? I guess it was the spearman hit, but the scout was like 3 tiles away? He must have bled out there. Anyways, that happens sometimes with how spearman works. Lick, so far, has the lead, and he is the one being more aggressive. He's added enough spears at home. He's got his 6 spearmen on the way, and he's got the scouts on the front. He probably sees these berries right now, and he's all over it. Now, I have to say this about Sobek. He went 6 on wood. 6 on wood, and then he's got the stragglers running out, and now he's trying to come out to wood here as well. Whatever build Sobek has gone for is just completely off. And also the micro from Lix, honestly, could be a bit better. Should be 2 Vil kills. Okay, it's fine in the end. He gets his 2 Vil kills. I'm probably a little bit distracted behind this, in all honesty. But that's huge. So Lix, happy with how things have gone so far, up 1-0. And Sobek hyped him up a lot, struggling. Heat of the moment getting to him maybe. Getting housed as well. Your starting lumber camp definitely needs to have more than 6 on wood. His thinking was probably take stragglers and then pull those villagers off of stragglers and farm. But usually like 7 or 8 is what you want. Maybe he was planning on the second lumber camp at one point. But yeah, I'm just seeing things that tell me Sobek's a bit off. You got the idols. You got the villagers sitting in the TC for a bit. Some days you just don't have your best shape, right? I think it also could just be how messy this is. Messy combined with South America and China ping is a recipe for some pretty scrappy games. Yeah, only 1 spearman there, so Lix takes the fight with the Magyars. Is going to have armor here in a second as well. Might even be archers on the field for Lix soon. Not the best micro from Lix, though, and most of his scouts go down, and this game still remains 1 good fight from Sobek away from being even. Resources collected is still very close. Scout number is now higher for Sobek as he moves forward, but we've got another stable now for Lix. And he did mine enough gold to get to research Bloodline. So he's going to have fully upgraded scouts. The Franks cannot compete with the HP now, right? They're locked at 54 HP in feudal. And the Magyars in 10 seconds will have 65 HP. And this is what the Magyars want. The extended feudal war against the Franks. The Franks would prefer to go up to Castle Age, which is what Sobek's going to try. But he's going to need more spears. He does have more in queue. He just has to keep his spear mass alive. Lix is going to die for an engagement soon, it feels like. Keep in mind the extra attack that the Magyars have, that forging upgrade, that also applies to the spears here, right? Lix is going to take the fight. He dives in. It's an awkward one, but he's engaging. He's going to kill some of these spears. He kills another villager. None of his scouts are grouped together here, though. That might actually help him because it's hard for Sobek to deal with the right areas here. This left side is the big problem. Over here, more villagers are going down. Lix has killed 5 villagers. And Lix is also bringing villagers forward to tower that gold because he thinks maybe his opponent's up and will want to make knights. 6 villagers down for Sobek. It's going to be 7 vills down for Sobek. And Sobek's got basically no military right now. These scouts were able to fight off the spears, and the GG's called, and Lix is up 2-0, which completely shatters my prediction. And he has played really nice today. I do think in some ways is a bit sloppy from Sobek. You know, he's struggled to really find a foothold in the series, but Lix just stuck to his game, stuck to his strengths there with the Magyars, played well. And what I liked here about Lix is how he didn't shy away from the spearman numbers. Yes, he made scouts, but he didn't shy away from spearmen. He had so many freaky spearmen this game. I think he had like 6 spearmen at one point at home when Sobek showed up. And Sobek's issue was his spearmen were getting picked off one by Lix. So he just didn't have enough grouped up. I think it's definitely a unit you just have to have more of. I think for Sobek, he did have a lot of them, clearly. But he had them at the wrong times. The Lix up 2-0. Pretty dominant display as well. Man. I think Sobek really wanted to take advantage of the double berries. Didn't have as much on wood because of it. And we definitely saw that moment where things got awkward for him there. Interesting. All right, so game number 3. We've got the Georgians. We speculated. Would we see the Georgians? And we have the Georgians here. For Sobek. I think this Civ is insanely strong right now. And the changes they made recently for this Civ is initially when they introduced the Civ would start with a mule cart, but you would also start with less food in the bank because the mule cart is a lumber camp, right? Which is, you know, pretty strong to start with one. And then the start was either too awkward, you know, they wanted to buff the Georgians a little bit. And so now the Georgians start with normal amounts of food. And so I've labbed out some builds. Basically, because you don't need to build a lumber camp, you don't need to account for it. Because you don't even start with much less wood. I don't think you start with less wood at all. You actually can go for scouts at like 17 population, and then your scouts heal up in feudal age, and it's just a very, very strong scout civ. You can scout with this. You can't bring in sheep or push deer or anything with it, but it's a free lumber camp, basically. It's a free lumber camp that moves, and then you don't have less wood. The Huns on the other side, for example, they don't have to build houses all game. They do start with less wood. A little bit less flexibility there. I actually wonder... He's going 3 to wood very early. I wonder if Sobek is going to drush. Like, look at how fast he is going to naturally get to the 200 wood count here. It's insane. You just wouldn't be able to do this with any other civ. This is very early for 4 on wood. This definitely tells me... Well, actually, Sobek might dock. That's actually what it is. I forgot to explain there's fish here. So I think it's just going to be a much faster dock. And that's probably the thought process. For you, T90, it was one of the biggest days of your life. For us, it was just Tuesday. All right, let's not say it was one of the biggest days of my life, okay? But I was really proud of that, right? Like, beating Lix. I was the underdog there. So I felt great about that. And then I got to the brink of qualifying for this tourney, the top 16 tourney, right? I was really close. You want to know how it went when I played the next round? I played against ACCM, and I got murdered. Any confidence, any belief, anything I had in me, just all that ego just got slapped right away. Oh, it was bad. And ACCM then apologized to me incessantly, which made it worse because he's so nice. And he was like, T90, he's like, don't feel bad. I'm playing very good right now. You good too. And I was just like, oh, ACCM, stop being nice to me, bro. But yeah, I never really had any belief that it was possible for me to qualify for that event anyway, so. Okay, so water aspects in the north and the south. What some players will do is they will completely wall in their villager here and their pond because scouts can come back here and kill these fish. And I think it's almost a must to do that. Sure, in theory, you could make a barracks and send spearmen there, but it's just annoying. I think it's easier for you if you can wall it up. It's not that much walling. And then your dock should be protected. Gives you a little bit more time to react to things. Restus says, hey T90, will this tournament thingy will continue? I'm gonna go get some beer if it will. Well, Restus, if you reread that sentence, I'm not sure you need another beer. But yes, it will continue, continuing. I just started the stream, so we're going to have this. And then we're going to have... I actually don't know exactly what the plan is for today, but there's more sets happening throughout the day. So, yeah, I'll be continuing. Chill out, relax, crack one open for me, man. Skit, thanks for the prime. Can you imagine if that scout would get trapped in there? It was such a weird little pocket of space that Sobek ran into there. So Sobek finds the opponent. The thing about this map is it's somewhat fixed position, so you should know if you're in the north that your opponent's in the south. And both players... Ooh, look at that. You can actually see the thought process from Lix. I think he saw that Vil and thought, I might want to go back there and snipe it with my scout. And then immediately pulled his villager off of the water. Neither player choosing to wall that up. And this is going to be a scout build for both. We'll see if Sobek can get a win on the board. Sobek was my favorite coming into the series. He's accomplished more this year. He was a beast in Hidden Cup qualies. I'm really surprised at how lackluster things have looked for him so far. Take nothing away from Lix, of course, who has looked super smooth. There's the stable from Lix. And Lix goes immediately for the Vil. Like we said, we could tell he was thinking about it. However, Sobek was around. And in the end, maybe not worth it for Lix to take the engagement yet. Stable comes up here from Sobek. Play stays alive. Congrats on that. Sounds like a positive change. Glad you could make it. It's also the first weekend. I'll be streaming both days in a bit. So for those that can watch more on weekends, keep an eye on things. Again, like, Sobek for getting a house. Like, maybe he thought he was playing Huns for a second. Probably not, though. It's just a little sloppy here or there from Sobek here today. And that can really build on you as a player. It can be a frustrating feeling because you're like, what is wrong? Why did I not make that house? But I like the walling. I like the scout production from him. But it looks like Lix is just not going to hesitate to move forward here. There's definitely just less pressure on Lix right now. He's got 2 wins. So why not move forward? He sees the scouts from the opponents here, so he shouldn't be worried at home. But he does take some big hits. And remember, those scouts for the Georgians are going to heal up as well over time. Mr. Viskman says, did Twitch change the no ads while subbed? Why am I watching an ad? You should not be watching an ad. That's really weird. It depends on the channel, though, right? Like, technically, I could make it so subs see ads, but I have that turned off. So if more people are seeing ads as while subbed, that's a really big deal. So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully it was just a bug. Nice job from Lix. I find it so funny how he doesn't use box formation yet. Like, I found it interesting as well during Hidden Cup. I hope people really enjoyed the Age of Formations videos. Well, there was only one of those videos, but even the Age of Colors and like the GG stats. But just like, as someone who always put his scouts on box formation because of the way they reposition, seeing a high-level player not do it while the majority have switched to doing that is wild. You'll see a very big difference in how the scouts group up. Like, you'll see them constantly reposition when they're not boxed, basically. Nice fight from Sobek. Oh, and a good hit from the Spearman, too. Sobek has got to be really happy with things now. Oh, man, that's an awful engagement for Lix. Yikes. Scouts, of course, regen, right? So you could maybe take a fight against these spearmen, clear out the spearmen if you really wanted to. Walls are down for Lix, though. Feels like a very natural spot for him to maybe consider cav archers in the next stage. Okay, hear me out. Georgian cav archers here instead of going for knights. Thoughts? They still regenerate. I think they get decent enough upgrades. I don't think they're, like, the best cav archers in the game or anything. And it might actually be a good, solid option here. But the scouts, all these engagements that Sobek has taken, it obviously hasn't led to him getting kills because Lix is walled up. And Lix also, the main difference I'm noticing, he actually added more fishing ships and has started to fish trap with these fishing ships. Really nice stuff. I like the amount, too. I think, like, going for excessive amounts isn't needed, but having 6 or 7 fishing ships on fish traps back here versus, well, we'll see what happens with Sobek. That's a nice little eco lead for you. Yeah, I don't actually know if Georgian cav archers get thumb ring. If they don't get thumb ring, it's probably not worth it. But the position in the game feels so natural for cav archers. He's going to go to stone, and he's going to build a castle. And you can't think that that's a poor move here when you know how good the Manaspa is. I expect ranges to come up here for Lix. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't do that. I think he's just using the wood for the fish traps right now. He won't use the ranges till he's in Castle Age. 7 to 1 KD. We have a lot of Germans and Brazilians here. That number will bring good or bad memories to them. Sorry. We've got forging now for Sobek and bloodlines. He's just going to continue to chase down Lix. Lix did add a few more scouts here. Interesting. Might just want those scouts for map control. But there's the range. It'll be at least 2 ranges. Going 1 range cav archers would feel very unnatural. Yeah, fight's going to be taken because Lix gets bloodlines. Sobek knows he's clicked bloodlines, but he doesn't know that it's not in yet for him. And he's probably paying attention to it now. Now it's in. And now he won't shy away from taking engagements as much. All this micro in less than 20 seconds vital TC for both. Good lord, I'll never be good at this game. Yeah, and this is a pretty smooth game by pro standards as well, right? I don't want to make it even more discouraging for you, but like this is as easy as it gets for these two. Has not really been messy. It's been super smooth. Both players just having that easy breezy full wall game, and there's the 3 ranges now from Lix. Okay, so Sobek needs to drop the castle, and he needs to drop the castle fast because he needs military. Because these Hun cav archers are really cheap. And if I were Sobek, I would be expecting cav archers as well. This castle spot, though. Huh? It's a very weird castle spot for me. I think it would be more natural to have it on the right side. Because it would... Well, I guess... Let's see how he builds it up. He's going to have time to realize the cav archers are on the way. So the castle spot looks bad if the opponent's here right now. They're just not going to be here right now. and he can think about his vulnerabilities. Because you might think he's protected here, and then he may, yeah, house wall this. This is fine. And honestly, you might want to just move away from this wood line and use the wood line near the TC anyways. The scout's attacking the wall. And that's a really good sign for you if you're Sobek, seeing those cav archers. Because you just don't want those cav archers at your base yet. Still on stone, Sobek. Usually players are going to shift off of stone, at least having 5 on stone if they can. If they're aiming for a 3 town center boom. This has been overchopped. He'll have some scorpions. He'll eventually have some Anaspa. Resources collected. Look at the difference. What is that, guys? The difference in the resources collected. Is that just Lix's efficiency of his eco? His overall efficiency? Is that the 7 fishing ships against the 3? Obviously, the 7 fishing ships against the 3 is the obvious thing to look at. I want to see the overall worker efficiency. Overall worker efficiency is like 1.5%. Better for Lix, so that means villagers maybe weren't moving around as much. I guess Sobek did build a castle, which is villagers not collecting resources. I don't know. It's a really nice eco lead there for Lix, but that's only with res collected. Sobek's situation is better for the long term right now with the 2 TCs. He's going to drop the 3rd. Lix hasn't even dropped 1 yet, and Lix breaks in. Lix wants damage. Lix is going to see a TC. And then he's going to see a castle. And this is what Sobek wanted. Oh my god, Lix is crazy! Lix, are you... Bro. The guy's a madman. That is the last thing I would have suggested that he do. But he probably felt like if I don't go through, I'm not going to do any damage here. I think Sobek is going to be... Well, I don't want to speak too soon, but I think overall he's going to be pretty happy with this. Oh god. If the Scorpions can just hurry up... Lix is in big trouble here. His units might not be able to escape. Oh, Lix gets trapped in the back of Sobek's base, and he can't run! Scorpions are shredding the cav archers. Oh, what a big clear up there for Sobek. And Sobek's going to kill the CA. He's going to be very happy with that. He does lose some Anaspa, but... Again, he's on 3 TCs. And Lix is just now adding TC number 3. So let's see how Lix manages this now. Because honestly, the first 2 games, it was just kind of like... Lix took control, Lix held control. But finally, Sobek showing that the level I was expecting from him here today. Sobek only has 1 on stone. The other stone is here. The rest of this stone long term is going to be in the middle of the map. But, you know, Manaspa, as much as I want to get excited about them, they don't have armor yet. And the cav archers are killing them pretty nicely, so... Lix is still in a pretty nice position. I do like this from Sobek. Keeping the scouts, the leftover scouts, on the gold sides and the relics is really nice. Wow, Lix kills 2 villagers there. Georgian skirms aren't the best. I actually feel like heavy cav archer and hussar with Huns might be better than anything the Georgians can do. Feels hard to bet against the elite Manaspa, but the mobility, how smooth it all plays out. I'm just trying to think about how things play out here. And right now, it feels like Sobek, this is the area of concern for him to lock down just because the stone is there. Everything else is fine. He gets +2 armor now. And yeah, he's going to add some monks to get relics as well. So the forgotten aspect of this map is there's actually markets in the corner, which you could, in theory, trade with. I've never seen that. I think it's not a very realistic thing. Oh my god, don't tell me Sobek's going to overchop this. There's 3 wood left. Oh man, that could have been so much worse for him. With how Sobek's day has gone, I was fully expecting him to chop through. It's actually a bush. These cav archers. They're just going to run right in, aren't they? I love this about Lix. Lix doesn't give a crap, man. Lix knows he needs to do damage. And Cav Archers are cheap with the Hun. So he just says, let's go for it. Has to be careful, of course, because last time his army got trapped. And he's imping now. What? Imping on 75 Vils. Wow. Oh, man. Runs directly into the Manaspa. Manaspa gets some hits. Cav Archers regroup in a way that Lix won't be a fan of. So Lix is imping to upgrade these Cav Archers. I think maybe he wants like map control with the Cav Archers and then a forward castle or something. But this is perfect for Sobek. Basically, Sobek's got 3 TCs pumping. He's got Manaspa on the way. He's got Scorpions. He's got 2 minutes to take good engagements because of the upgrades and the units he has. And if he can find decent engagements, his eco will surpass what Lix is capable of. Because Lix only has 2 TCs producing Vils now. And then hopefully he can make it to the Imperial Age. Scorpions are a big problem right now. But Scorpions are slow. As long as, like, Lix just needs to avoid the Scorpions. But Lix says, I'm going to fight the Scorpions. Which I guess, like, if you line up your units like this, it is the best way to engage against Scorpions. But I do not agree with this. Maybe he felt like he had no choice. But Sobek is just slaughtering him here. And now Sobek can take full map control. Sobek can expand. Sobek is going to be surprised when he sees Lix as an Imp, though. It feels like a really crazy timing for Imp. I know he's not spending units. He's not, like, making knights or anything that costs food and gold, but still. Scorpions got their value. Cav Archers are still cheap with Huns, so still could be a bit risky potentially for Sobek. Once Bracer and Chemistry come in, maybe even heavy CA, all the army that Sobek is currently fighting with becomes quite weak. Sobek needs Imp now, and then he needs upgrades on the Manaspa. And he seems very exposed on the sides. He's going to go to the middle, though. Did kill a monk there. Feels like risky times for these villagers in the middle, but there's enough Scorpions around. 3 minutes now until Sobek's an Imp. Castle's going to go up for him. That's nice. It secures some extra stone as well. And again, those Cav Archer upgrades are flying in for Lix. Lix takes the score lead. Cav Archers can be insane. 5 ranges from Lix. Scorpions will go down so much faster. Scorpions are not really an option, I would say, at this point. And Lix tries to go for a forward castle, which was his plan the whole time. But then sees that Sobek has the castle there. Sobek, yeah, you have to do everything you can as Lix quick walls with a lumber camp because you can't house wall with the Huns. Pro strategies here. You got to do everything you can to just stall. I think Sobek's next castle might need to even just be in his farming eco. Like, you need a production castle for Manaspa, and you need a protection castle. It doesn't make sense to go anywhere else at this point. You have to avoid the CA everywhere you can. Like, I could see an argument in other instances for a castle here, but it feels a little too early. It feels like he is going to be very exposed in some areas. Right now, he's just trying to flee from these Cav Archers with the Manaspa and can't really seem to get away. Gets a couple kills with this Manaspa, but will lose them. And there's now going to be 30 Cav Archers for Lix. This is, like I said, you need a castle here if you're Sobek. This is panic time for Sobek. What on earth, man? Lix is on steroids today. Oh, that's a lot of Scorpions again. Really? Against Imp Cav Archers? I don't like this. See how much faster the Cav Archers take out the Scorpions now? In Castle Age, I think it's fine. But... oh, man. Okay. I mean, it's such a waste. He needs upgrades. He's being attacked everywhere. He doesn't have a castle up here. The Cav Archers could break in. You can't build a castle here now. Oh, he did overchop. Now the Cav Archers would deny it. Lix is all over him, guys. Lix getting early guilds. That's such a crazy tech to get early here. The Cav Archers dive. See, there's only one group of Manaspa. And that group of Manaspa here for Sobek is going to dive to take the Treb. Which is, of course, important. But that means he can't protect his eco right now. And these are some heavy losses for Sobek. Now, I thought he was going to have the economy lead. That's not going to be the case at all. He's getting Elite Manaspa now. He's getting armor. He's bringing the Manaspa back. He's even castling here, but, like, he's lost so much economy here. And just the idle time. Lix is just back with Trebs. Lix just runs forward now to sit underneath the castle so it can't be repaired. And do you remember that spot earlier where the Cav Archers sat and how it was a problem for them? This is now amazing for the Cav Archers. Castle will go down for Sobek, and Lix is going to 3-0 Sobek here. Wow. And I have to say, like, what I was worried about with Lix is that the strategies wouldn't make sense on the maps, right? But things have clicked for him. He's stuck to his type of game. He's picked a lot of classic civilizations. And Sobek, he loses the series 3-0. Lix is going to move on here in the World Rumble 2 qualifier. Sick stuff. And the other thing about this tourney, right? There's something that a lot of Lix fans will recognize is another tourney. Sometimes he'd go up against like a big name, like a top 10, top 12 talent, and then he gets stomped. This tourney won't have that, right? There are still, of course, names much bigger than Lix, but it does exclude players who've accomplished a lot in other, in big S-tier tourneys. So Lix could maybe be a really solid force in this tourney. We'll look at the bracket here in a second, but Sobek's out. Disappointing performance for him, but Lix also looked really, really sharp today. Great stuff. Definitely makes my 3-1 prediction for Sobek look pretty bad right now. Let me tell you. I wish I wasn't live. I wish it was recorded. I could go back and change my prediction. Holy. Well, let's look to the bracket then, guys, and then we'll decide on what we're casting more of here. So, okay, so these are results that have happened already in the qualifier. So let's just go through it again, because people are asking questions that didn't hear me say this earlier. So the 8 that are already in this tourney: Barles, freaking Andy, Hart, Kingston, Margugu, Mihai, Sebastian, and Valis. And then the other 8 spots are qualification spots, which is what we're watching right now. And we've got Running, who beat I Buy Power. He moves on. Overtaken beat Song Song. Dragonstar beat El Matador. Miguel Whitecourt was apparently a very close series. That was apparently yesterday. Miguel won 3-2 there. Sorokuma beat Prisma. Ganji won 3-1 over Bad Koala. Dark beat Say My Name 3-1. Baba Rum beat Lucho 3-0. And then Lix 3-0 Sobek. So other sets to come would be Classic Pro Ozone, Fire Sizcon, Rapard, and Hope, who this player is. Stark and Uzi, Daniel Cosmonaut, Lucky Z40. Those are all the sets that are going to be happening here. So if you're asking, where is such and such name? They achieved results that exclude them from the tournament. The whole point of the tournament is to give really good players, high-level players, opportunities without being knocked out by like someone in the top 10, basically.